Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another video. Let me unmute that there. Oh, it's good to be back. Do you know what? Just through weird quirks of how I set that up. That intro theme I just listened to overlapping about 4 times in a row, and it was a complete cacophony. I'm so glad that's over now. Yeah, hi guys. Welcome. It's... Christ, where is the time gone? It is mid-January already. Getting late January. Where has the time gone? Finally, there's something to talk about with Guild Wars. And in fact, it's a little bit of news that we talked about earlier in the year, 2 months ago, where they announced the unification of raids and strikes. So what I'm doing here is this is going to be a live video. We're live right now. Hello everybody, people who were typing like robots in chat just now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin a regular video out of it, which we'll commence in just a second, I suppose. This live iteration can be a bit longer. We can do a bit of a catch up, and I'll probably do like a bit of a back and forth Q&A type hello with everyone in that as well. Please, see, you hear the music? The music's playing again. I swear to God, I know I had the VOE background there, but I swear they put other tracks in there usually. Not this time. So yeah, I have been playing a lot of Guild Wars. There hasn't really been any content or anything to like make videos on as far as I'm concerned, but I have been playing a good amount. We're still in Mount Barrier, so that's still something that I spend most of my time doing. So I'm either, you know, raiding. Wow, there's no gliding in here. Of course there's not. Or I'm at the Golem. That's about it, or doing festivals. What I've really been wanting to do all month, what I've been desperate to do, guys, is an account tour. Because I used to do account tours at the end of the year, and so there's been, what, 2 years now, 3 years, where I haven't done one, because I've wanted to hit the next AP threshold. I want to hit 50k. If you watch my my Let's Play of Visions of Eternity itself, you saw I was really, you know, gunning for that the whole time. We ended up beating the whole expansion, getting every achievement in the expansion, and still not having enough. And so basically, I'm just kind of waiting for either we get Mount Barrier stuff done. So like, as far as raids are concerned, and hey, this is on topic, I have a shit ton to do here. I've been raiding in there a lot, but all I actually really have is the normal mode encounters and a couple of the CMs. I have barely any of the side achievements. I don't have, I've been doing Ura for months now, and I don't even have Ura CM yet. There's all this shit, all this juicy AP that would get me to the 50k. And as soon as I hit that 50k, I want to do an account tour. I got all kinds of cool stuff set up. Now I want to show off, but until I'm there, I don't know. I just don't want to do it. So yeah, just kind of been working towards that, and you know, logging back out when I'm not raiding. Basically, that's been about it. I've played a shit ton of builds, loads of different variations of Conduit as the months have gone by. Now it's over to Power Conduit. There's been a couple of balance patches. Obviously, we're not doing balance with boots lately. And I don't know. I feel like I'd be very, very salty about balance discussion, especially with the current stuff that's going on, where it feels like I learned and got really good at quite a complex rotation, I'd say, and now there's something that's way, 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 way easier than it, that is like 99% of the benefit. So I don't know, it's just a bit of an odd feeling. But yeah, I have been having fun on Power Conduit. Anyone who wants to pick up a current like modern build, it's very, very simple, not many buttons to press, and it means that you can focus on the game a lot. And, you know, that's where it's always a lot of fun, where you actually do have a lot of situational awareness, where you can see what's happening and sort of chill and relax, you know. So yeah, anyway, I hope you guys are all doing good. You all had a nice holiday and all of that. Let's see who we got in chat. We've got Einolf, member for 45 months. The first stream you're watching with your son. Oh, dude. Hello to Mini Einolf, Einolf Jr. Welcome to this miserable place called Earth. No, that's awesome, dude. Congratulations. That's very cool. We got Silk Road here. Charlie, hopefully it won't be the 50 AP from Lunar New Year to get you through. Well, it probably will. It probably will be the 50 AP from Lunar New Year. Like, that's a huge amount of what I get. It's when a festival comes out, I'll be able to do the festival. They do these rushes, like there's the World vs. World rush happening. There was the Fractal rush last week, which I did do, by the way. But these never offer AP, and I'm actually okay with that. The only other like petty, tiny bits of AP I've been able to squeeze out, you can see some here, is like getting Black Lion weapons collections. Like, I can't remember when the Calligrapher stuff came out, but I only just got that like yesterday. You know, just really, really tiny, teeny little bits that I can maybe like scrounge out from various weird little bits of the game. World vs. World's another thing. and if I just got into it. But I found World vs. World so boring, man. I really do. I don't know. You need good company for World vs. World to work out well, I think. Crazy to think people who've been following WP for years now have kids and stuff. It is weird. You know what I always think about? I always think about my Guild Wars 1 character, who's now, what, like 18 years old? Or what? How old is Guild Wars 1 at this point? No, it's 20, right? My Guild Wars 1 character is like... It's like if I had a baby instead of making that character, and I would have been a bit on the young side, but, you know, teen pregnancy is a common enough thing and all that. If I had done... So people would have done that, is what I'm trying to get at. I'd have like a full-blown adult, you know, like it's really weird. And going back even further, you think about some of my earlier MMO characters, but even just within Guild Wars 2, it gets that level, you know. Rocker is in good company. I did almost play with him the other day. He was like, "Yeah, come and play." I was like, "All right, I'll play." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm not getting in Discord. I'm too antisocial for that. I'm too much of an introvert." And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Let's get in." We joined the and I joined the squads. And I joined perfectly, got in, there was no queue. The squad's running out of the gate into the Eternal Battlegrounds. I'm like, holy shit, that timing's amazing. And then we wipe instantly, like genuinely within 90 seconds. And the commander says, fuck this, I'm out, and logs off. And it just dissolved. And I was like, yeah, this basically sums up. That sums up Guild Wars World vs. World for me a lot of the time.
We really need
I don't know. Roaming's so much more fun, but so slow with the levels. You can zerg for just a tiny bit and get like hundreds of levels in there. And actually meaningful progress on achievements and stuff. Here's something weird about that. I mean, this is the kind of thing I'd like to talk about on the account tour. But my World vs. World achievements, right? I'm very low on certain things. Like, I've only flipped Stone Mist Castles 56 times, right? But inverse to that, if you look at like objectives... I've done 7,149 objectives. I've done a lot of objectives. Do you know why I've done all those objectives? Because it's flipping camps and shit while roaming, right? That's what you get for roaming. You basically get one achievement. You get like dolly axe and camps. But all this other shit is just at like almost nothing. And you don't get Realm Avenger and stuff like that because you don't get many kills. You know, in a Zerg, you can press one button and get 5 tags. But roaming, you've got to, you know, fight tooth and nail to win a single duel that might last, you know, 90 seconds, and you'll get 1 kill. Hey, WP, you sent me an email a few weeks back saying if you wanted a limited edition copy of the Tyrian Gazette. Let me know if you're interested. Oh, really? Okay, just as a warning, my email is not a good place to get in contact, and the reason for that is it gets spammed madly. It gets super spammed, and it's really, and they're so sneaky and they're so tricky. All the subject lines, all the headers, all the introductory text, it's always framed in such a way as to pretend that we're familiar with each other and they really know the channel and they really know what I'm about and they really are a good fit. But then it's just complete bullshit asking me to, you know, do A, B, or C, which is I have zero interest in. I was actually kind of amazed. Just this morning, I saw an email on... So I never click the emails, basically. And I kind of gloss over them, so I'm sorry, you will have fallen in the actual pit of despair there. But I was kind of amazed. I do have an email from someone, I guess I'll leave it all nameless, but they said, hey, I loved your Grimrock LP. Here's a game like Grimrock I want you to cover. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. That could actually be a fan. That could be someone who does know the channel. Or is it just that they saw on the SEO that my Grimrock series is one of the bigger Grimrock series out there and... You know, they've just blanket sent emails to everyone. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. To be honest, I don't really know what the Tyrian Gazette is. What is that? I remember back when Guild Wars 2 came out, there were a bunch of different magazines going on. I kind of fell off with a lot of that stuff. WP, did you miss the Guild Wars 1 update, new modes and stuff? Oh, yeah, we didn't actually cover that, did we? I did see that. What do I say? I think it's really good, and I'm really happy for the game, and I'm glad that they went with something, you know. How do I phrase this in a way that I don't look like a complete hipster cunt? Okay, so like I did Iron Man. My actual Prophecies Let's Play, which I don't think is very good, and I'd like to redo. We've talked about this. My Prophecies Let's Play is an Iron Man Let's Play, right? In terms of like solos, you know, I didn't have any. There was no skipping. It was supposed to be permadeath. You know, it kind of was following those rules. So I get it. I believe in those formats, and I know that people have sort of started trying to do it more lately, and the community's come to what they think are certain rule sets and things. But I in a lot of ways, Guild Wars 1 isn't a great fit for that stuff. So I think it is a bit of a square peg round hole situation, a little bit. And I do think that personally, I would never have prioritized those things. But they got them in, and they're nice features, and, you know... and that's good. I don't begrudge the game for getting them. The only thing is I'm not doing content on it because it's so big, you know. Like, I'm not very into Guild Wars 1 at the moment. Not because I think Guild Wars 1 is bad. Not because I don't wish all the success in the world to Guild Wars 1. Not because I don't want to see Reforged do well. But just because, like that update is basically... If I was going to cover that in a meaningful way, it's sort of asking you to go back through and do everything again. Beat all the campaigns again. Everything. It's like too big. It's like I don't want to I don't want to suddenly out of nowhere throw in a massive fucking LP of the entirety of Guild Wars 1 kind of thing. So like I'm just kind of not on that train, and that's kind of why I didn't cover it. But it's a cool sort of update. One thing I was paying a lot of attention to and kind of did want to talk to you guys about. In fact, I'm going to go get a screenshot of it. I'm going to do something really horrible now. Look, Google even knows what I'm going to ask. All I did was type Steam there, and Google knew. How weird is that? Let's go 3 months. So... Oh, this is really weird, actually. This is very odd. Okay, let me add another image to our slideshow. We got quite the slideshow coming up, guys. This is going to be a good little video. We will talk about the news in a minute, I promise. You can't begrudge me a bit of catch-up. Because it's been a while. Here we go. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing Steam DB. I'm doing Steam charts. So we do have population charts. So this is Reforged. I just took this screenshot while speaking seconds ago. Where it says 1,016 people are playing right now. That literally means right now there's 1,016 people playing Reforged. So this is the timeline of the Reforged stuff. And so... Early on that timeline, I think it's like 300 people. Like if I were 27th of October around Halloween, you had on average 300 people on planet Earth playing Guild Wars 1 via Steam. You had about 300 people playing. Then there was the Reforged news and Reforged launch, and there was a huge spike. I shouldn't have closed the tab. Let's see what that spike is. That spike went all the way up to 5k. So they got 5 times the player base there. They got, well, no, even more than that, right? It wasn't 1,000 before then. So we went all the way up to 5,000 people. 5,000 people in early December. Now, I said, I can't remember if this was in a video or not, but I said, you know, because they released in early December, what I hope is we would get the hype of December, and then we would get, like, Christmas sales, and people are off work and stuff, so they keep playing. And I wanted to see Guild Wars Reforged success continue along. But as you all know, my main thing with Reforged is it wasn't a full-blown remaster, and it was quite light on what it offered, and I was scared we were going to lose all the players again. So where is it averaged out? So it all started at about 300 to 400 people. Now we have 1,000 people. So far the project, I'd like to see something bigger and more meaningful. I think that spike you can see around early January, isn't that the permadeath thing? The two new little like title icons. I saw, by the way, on someone on the Guild Wars 1 Reddit already has God walking amongst mere mortals plus both of the icons, which is fucking crazy. So it is trending down. So I would like to see something bigger. That again, to me, it's that assurance of new modern content. In a lot of ways, kind of a broad system thing like that like the permadeath icon is a really good idea, because it sort of taps into the entire game's content and it gets a lot of hours out of people. So far I've been pleasantly happy with how, like, that might look like a decline for Guild Wars 1 Reforged, but it's actually quite slow and it's quite steady. And we've sort of averaged out to around this 1k level, which at the end of the day is, you know, it's more than where we started. And I know what some of you are thinking, oh, this is just Steam info. Well, remember, Reforged was pretty much a Steam thing. That's not the entire player base. I would still expect that the majority of the player base are using Arenanet's own client. I'd expect at least double So, you know, maybe there's 3K people logged in there at the moment. What would be really incredible, actually, is to compare that to Guild Wars 2. But yeah, so I kind of hate what I just did there. I kind of hate talking about fucking Steam charts and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, hopefully they have more in store for us. And yeah, I don't have it in me to do a big Guild Wars 1 playthrough. And I don't really know what there is to cover. There's basically a video I could do where I plug in an Xbox 360 controller and say, oh, here's how it feels. But I don't know. I'm sort of withholding that for now. I do intend to look at Reforged, just maybe a little bit down the line. That's kind of where I am with it at the moment. All right. Yeah, let me just take a sip of coffee here. What else are we talking about? You're still salty you missed out on the Tyrion Tarot cards? Oh, dude, I've got those. I'm not a very merchandisey kind of guy, really. Well, not for like... Well, I don't know. Look, I think if it's not too mass market, I am. So, like, the Tyrion Tarot, I love those. I really do think they're very cool because they do feel special and they don't feel mass manufactured and they don't feel, you know, really mundane. They feel cool, you know, because they are quite precise. You know what? I'm not doing any of this stuff. I don't have the money to do any of it. But I got really interested in looking at, like, collector subreddits recently. People who collect ancient coins, people who collect fossils, people who collect eggs, shit like that. Stuff from the natural world or, you know, like the study of man. I think that stuff's all really interesting. And I like those kinds of collections. But sort of plastic tap that gets made, you know, collecting, oh, what are they called? What are the big-headed toy, Funko Pops, shit like that. Like, I could not be less interested in. The Tyrion Tarot stuff is awesome, and I'm very, very, very happy with that. Because, you know, when it comes to this franchise, which is special to me and is also a bit more fringe, and then within that, it's, you know, it's the fans doing it too. So I love that. I do have some Funko Pops. I sometimes will get... Oh, I'm such a dick. I'm such a prick. I sometimes get Funko Pops as, like, Christmas or birthday presents from people that don't know what to get me. Which I love. They're my favourite. They're brilliant. Oh, they're so good. I really, really love Funko Pops in that context. They're my favourite. And I do sort of have them on shelves and things. Out of obligation. I also have 3 Guild Wars Funko Pops. I have the Aurene, the Joko, and the Ritlock ones. And they're still fresh in their box. I got those for the little mini codes or whatever. I'm actually... This is how sad I am. I'm actually more happy about the minis that I have. Yeah, are they called... Is it just called Funko? Yeah. Than I am about the actual physical ones that I have. No, I'm not going to look a gift of horse in the mouth. If I get a gift, it's lovely. But, you know, I have some, like, I have some ones from, like, The Walking Dead, right? Which is not a show I really care that much. You know, I basically, after Glenn got batted in the head, I stopped watching that show. You know, like, it was years ago. You love the Guild Wars 2 ones? They're really, really dedicated. Sorry, really detailed. Yeah. I actually got an incredible model for Christmas, which was really, really, really beautiful and very, very gorgeous. So I do like models, but I mean, this is very vain of me or materialistic of me. But if they're a bit expensive, maybe, or if they're, you know, there's some deeper thought about it, you know. Anyway, all right, geez, get me out of this conversation. I don't like any of this. Yeah, you'd like a video controller support. Hardcore pre-searing would be pretty interesting. That's not a video, though. That's a whole series. That's the other problem I have as well. One of those medals that they added to the pre-searing thing, to Reforged, is a pre-searing dedicated thing. And I stupidly... Look, if there's one thing you guys have learned about me over the years is this. If I make a promise about something, or not even a promise, if I just say I want to do something... even though I should just let go of it and not do it anymore, I let it eat at me and destroy all my other productivity. Like Oblivion right now. I promise you guys Oblivion is the next series. You've seen fuck all from me the past couple of weeks because I'm still just trying to get my ducks in the row, find the right headspace to get back into Oblivion. That's entirely what I should just say. I'll fuck Oblivion for now. We're sidelining it, but so one of the other things I've said is if I go and do a pre-searing thing, that would be my exit from Guild Wars. That would be a nice like bookend for Guild Wars. And because I've said that now, I feel like I don't want to do the Reforged thing for pre-searing. If I just let it go, I could do it, you know, but I'm too insane for that. Am I quitting the internet? No. Well, exactly right. After the next pre-playthrough, would you quit the internet? No, that would just be me fully moving on to other stuff, you know. Anyway, Ooga Booga or Ooga Boga 44 with some gift memberships. Thank you so much. That's really kind of you. Now that's a gift, guys, that I'll always enjoy. Look at that. You're giving it to other people there, and I get to enjoy a bit of that as well. Gift subs. That's it, guys. It's been Christmas. We'll call that a late present. We're getting October Oblivion before October. I know. Oh God. Let me scroll up here. Someone earlier said that they've been watching the Big Guild Wars 2 LP and you've been really enjoying it. I'm very happy to hear that. Thank you. I love that series. I love making that series. That was, you know, I'm very proud of it, and I think it worked out very well. With the exception of the fact that, you know, it kind of ends suggesting it's going to go through season 3. And then doesn't. Oh my god, I gave myself a hiccup. Right, where should we record this video? Dare I do it at the aerodrome? The aerodrome? Everyone's going to do their stuff at the aerodrome. I want to be different. Oh, we're in combat anyway. I did the cardinal sin of opening the map. Oh, speaking of sins, made me think of virtues. Guys, I played a great game last week, all right? A game that realistically I should have streamed. Fantastic. Check out The Case of the Golden Idol. It came out about, I don't know, 15 months ago or something. It's a detective game with it's a really unique genre. I've never played a game like it at all. Basically, you are just given a scene and you click around on things a bit like a point and click, but what you're doing is you're gathering testimonies and names and dates and phrases and ideas, and then you're organizing them to like build a case. Basically, you're presented with 12 separate scenes. Each is of a different murder. And as the scenes go along, you realize the same people in the same area of the world are popping up. And you're trying to figure out what the fuck happened, basically. You kind of role play as like a real-life historian or detective. It's real deduction. It's real analysis. It's real observation. There's no mini games. There's nothing is gamified. There's no classic action, so to speak. You're just looking and observing and trying to see what happened, who killed who and how. And it's amazing. You basically just like have an image on the screen, and through careful thought and deliberation, you'd be astounded to see the amount of things that you can learn. Like, NPCs never speak to you. The information you have is the information you have, right? It's not like you weasel something out of someone. No, that's it. But, like, through, like, looking at betting slips and looking at dates of birth and stuff, you're like, oh, shit, this guy did this and this. And there's magic involved. And, oh, it's amazing. So cool. And it's got all this... It's basically set in the 1700s. So it's got all this old UK currency and anachronisms as you see how these people lived and stuff. Really, really, really cool. So that's my current big hype game. That's the game that I've absolutely been loving. It's called The Case of the Golden Idol. It's got a couple of DLCs, which I'm not going to bother with. But yeah, that's been pretty fun. Does anyone in chat recognize? Yes, Latvian game? Is it a Latvian game? It was so good, man. Basically, Steam did a big detective sale. It took me like 9 hours to beat over a couple of weeks, so I wouldn't say I played it that much. But, you know, that's fine. It's a good sweet spot. It wasn't that expensive. It was only like £6 or something. I don't know. WP, did you see the Templin Institute is doing another Stellaris RP Let's Play? I suggested he use your mods for immersion. I don't know who that is. I'm sure he makes it, or they make amazing content. And dude, if they use my mods, the thing is, my mod isn't updated. I'm waiting. I haven't been modding for months. I haven't modded for about 3 months, and I'm not going to be modding again for another 3 months. The current dev diary says that 3.3 is probably going to release in March, so I won't be modding until March. I'm not supporting this version, so it's bad timing, really. Like, if he does anything with Infernals, my mods won't work. I don't have anything for Volcanic Worlds or anything like that. You should try Return of the Obra Dinn as well. Well, I did buy another game in the detective sale. I tried it for about an hour last night. It was called curious plants or something. A strange horticulture. And like I'm playing as like I own like a plant shop in a magical world, like, just on the borders of some town. And it's kind of like a chill out simulator almost. Like it's soothing, quiet music. It's, you know, gentle piano, rain tapping on the window. You know, just observing the various plants I have in stock as different customers come to me. And again, there's a bit of magic in this world. Like, there's witches and stuff. I believe that there's another game in the series to do with, like magical items or something, which probably... It sounds like it's probably more up my alley, a bit more fun. But what I actually liked about it, one of the reasons I bought it is I adore the art style. It's kind of the same art style as Plants vs. Zombies. Not because they are plants in common, but it's that same sort of line art and illustrations and coloring. And I really love that art style. The whole Dream MMO thing, if I ever got to pick one, or if it ever actually happened, I would pick that art style. I think it's amazing. Being a Hogwarts herbology professor, yeah, it's a little bit like that. God, this is such bad content. I'm just running in circles talking about other games. Let's go to the Shadow Behemoth. That's meaningful. And our add-ons have told us. How many hours do I have in Guild Wars 2? Thousands. I have 9,325 hours on this. I'm cringing even as I say it. But across this account, I have 23,062 hours. And I probably have 5,000 to 6,000 on other accounts. Oh... That was my life, guys. Those numbers, that was a life. Well lived. In that scary place known as the outdoors. But hey. I nearly have 50k AP. Huh? Huh? What would you rather have? Be an expert at the piano or something, you know? Bunch of accreditations. Lots of money, thriving career, or 49,962 AP. Just think about that. I think we all know the answer. This is so weird. I'm barely playing Bliss at the moment. I'm like entirely on Rev when I play. Put that on my dating profile. Yeah, I know. That'll drop the panties, won't it? Oh, look at my AP. Christ. Plus Guild Wars 1 playtime. Well, you know, I'm not... I have a classic comment years ago. I think after my very, very, very first year making money on YouTube, I specifically said that I had hit 10k in GW1, and it used to be a point of real shame and real sadness and real insecurity for me. It really was that I'd hit those hours in that game. But... since I had been able to earn a living on YouTube and we had built a community here, it felt like it had become something tangible and something real and something meaningful. And so, you know, I'm not really ashamed. You know, we've built something incredible here, and we've done really well, I would say. So, you know, if I didn't have all those aspects, I would say there's a bigger problem there. Your life achievement is 10 litre of red blood cells donated. Oh, that's pretty cool. Does it? I'm completely... How many litres would you donate in one session? Can you donate a whole litre in one session? How many litres does a person even have in them at once? Now everyone's a high hours loser. Yeah, that's the other thing, for what it's worth, right? Like, this game's been going over a decade, right? So naturally you're going to end up with a lot of hours. The Guild Wars 1 thing was a bit more shameful because the game wasn't that old, you know? If you think about... Like, I remember... So I was kind of ashamed or whatever when I hit my 10k after 4 years, 5 years? I don't know what the timeline was. You don't need to do the maths on this because I really don't remember. But what I will say is I remember when I had barely got into this game and... this franchise, sorry. So if you guys don't know a little bit about me, I never used to read any of the lore. I never cared about the world building. It was just skip the cutscenes, skip the walls of text. You know, I was just like any, you know, teenage Zoomer, so to speak, at the time. and the world building was not this game's forte. For the first maybe 6 months that I played it, I wasn't that interested. What I loved was the PvP. What I played was the PvP. And so when I very first started getting into guilds and meeting people and conversing with people, it was because of TeamSpeak playing Heroes Ascent. And I remember, and that was early days. Later, you know, I ended up folding back into the PvE and all that. But that was early days. And there was a guy that that hit 10k hours, like, fucking quick. I'm talking like the dude must have been putting 15-hour shifts every day, all day, relentlessly. Like, it was obscene that he'd got to 10k. And I'd always thought, holy shit, I'll never be like that guy. I remember that. I'll never be like that guy. And then when I hit 10k, I was like, oh, fuck, I've become him. But not really, right? Not really, because the timescales are very different. That's quite a sad story as well, by the way. Because I think the guy that I'm talking about, whose name I don't even remember, right? So he shall rename Nate. This is an entirely theoretical entity, realistically now. But the guy I'm talking about, I think got extremely unhealthy. And like passed away at a very early age. So, you know, it really isn't good to hit that. I don't know. What's the newest MMO? Is Ashes of Creation out now? If you've got 10k in Ashes of Creation already, you know, sort it out. Oh. That's shocking because you started watching my channel way back because of the lore videos. Yeah, no, I know. Me on YouTube, yeah, a lot of you guys will think of as ancient history now, but that's late stage. That's late into the Guild Wars 1 journey for me, you know. Guild Wars 1 for me was... Okay, so I first played... I don't know when the last time I gave this anecdote. This might be interesting and fun for people. I last played Guild Wars 1... Sorry, I started playing Guild Wars 1 during Prophecies, when it was absolutely new. And the character select screen was that campfire. Oh, yeah, that's an update for Reforged as well. Didn't they just do that, where you can select the character select? Am I dreaming? Was that something that I saw on Reddit? Anyway, the character select was... Like, guys, I haven't even logged in. I've literally not logged in for 1 second since Reforged has come out. Not even a single second. So I played during Prophecies, but it was... The account was tied to my mum's boyfriend at the time, okay? And when my mum split up with this guy, we had lost the account. But on top of that, we didn't have a good enough computer for it. Like, I remember when I very first played Guild Wars 1, like this lovely water we're sailing over right now, like whatever graphics card it was couldn't actually render it. It was just like flat. It was just a one color. Could barely render it. It was getting maybe, you know, 15, 16 FPS or something, like not doing well. And that PC was at this guy's house, right? And it was his account name with his password. And so I could only play Guild Wars 1 when we went over to that place, which was kind of, you know, very rare. So I remember doing I did Yak's Ben. I think we beat it and we got to, like, the Sorrow's Furnace update was coming out or something. But then they, like, split up and we didn't have a PC good enough and that was it. Later, we did get a PC in my house. It wasn't me that bought the game. It wasn't me that played it. I was playing other games. I was interested in like, original Xbox games. It was my brother got the game and he was playing Guild Wars. And so you had like 6 characters on the account or 5 characters and he had like 4, but he gave me one and he gave a friend of his one. So sometimes, you know, I'd sit in his room and I would play. And he was the one that was super into it. He used to do like, and I used to watch him playing all the time. So like he used to do, you know, runs to Drox Forge and stuff. And I remember when factions... So I had a character, my original character, my Mesmer, was from then. And that was when I really started to rack up playtime. During none of this was I, like, hardcore into it. I used to spend a lot of time in RA, and I basically beat the campaign. I rushed through the campaign, not because I cared about the lore or the story. I rushed through the campaign because I wanted Energy Surge. And I loved the Buildcraft. That's true as well. I remember the first build I ever tried to make was I wanted to make a Fevered Dreams build. I wanted to capture Fevered Dreams, the elite, so that I could... share Backfire. Backfire was my favorite skill. and I wanted to share backfire across entire groups of enemies, and I dreamt of this build. I really wanted it. I worked super hard to get it, only to realize that backfire is a hex, not a condition, and like the verbiage is very precise in games like these, and the Buildcraft is very precise, and the whole idea wouldn't work, and I remember being disappointed by that. But I remembered thinking that the last elite skills you got would be the best, and one of the last skills was Energy Surge, and Energy Surge was good in PvP. They were running it in HA, and they were running it in, you know, like these PvP formats. So that for denying, you know, the enemy backline and stuff. So slowly I ended up working my way into PvP there. And then like slowly my brother started playing less and less and less and less, and I started playing more. He didn't even touch Nightfall. I bought Nightfall on release. And then, yeah, there was just loads of shit. I'm not going to give you the whole story, but it went on for years, man. It went on and on and on and on. All the Nightfall stuff, all the Eye of the North stuff. I still didn't really care that much about the story, but I was a bit more into it. And I was into it because Guild Wars 2 had been announced and stuff. And then it was only like late Eye of the North, where it felt like the game was dying and was a graveyard. It felt like no one was around anymore. That I thought, you know what? I'm loving watching Let's Plays. I've been watching Let's Plays for years. I've been watching Tomb Raider LPs. I've been watching Minecraft LPs. David64 YT and stuff. And I was like, do you know what? No one's making any good Guild Wars 1 Let's Plays. I'm going to make a Guild Wars 1 Let's Play, but it has to be something different. It has to be... Like, I never wanted to, and still to this day, I don't want to make shit that everyone else is making, right? So, like, even this video I'm doing here today, I kind of have a lack of enthusiasm for, because it's like, a fucking 100,000 nerds are just going to make their little videos about it. You don't need mine as well, right? And that's, like, a thing with me. So, anyway, back then, I was like, what's wrong with all these LPs? What does nobody give a shit about? And one of the things was the story. Like, everyone skipped all the cutscenes. No one paid any attention to any of the dialogue. No one got any of the detail of the game. So I was like, look, if I'm going to do an LP, I'm going to get all the detail out. Let's see what the story's like. And it was only then that I really started to develop an enthusiasm for it. And the series came off the back of that. But that, to me, that's like late Guild Wars 1. So you guys might call that the start of things, but that's late already. And then obviously, you know, Guild Wars 2 and all that. Fucking hell, guys, we got stuff to cover. I think that counts as a hello, right? 40 minutes? 40 minutes? All those hours doing drop runs. Yeah, and running was so fun. It was such an interesting and cool element of that game and the implementation in that game that I adore. But nowadays, like, if I open the fucking raid section here, like, selling. This is effectively running, right? These people are running, but I get all grumpy about it. I remember when the turtle was coming out in End of Dragons as well, and Arenanet was like, look, it's like running is back. But, you know, the game is just not the same. That's not an apt comparison. It doesn't feel the same, you know, sitting on a skiff and having someone sail you around. It's not... It really can only exist within that specific Guild Wars 1 ecosystem and style of game. And we'll see whether Reforged continues to breathe back life back into it. Or, you know, at least they take the idea and do a modern product. Any tank updates? Fish tank updates? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when I last talked about it. Possibly. I'm actually going to get some more Tetras. So I have 12 Ember Tetras, but they're really shy. They don't move around enough. They don't school enough. And I've read that if I get just a few more, like if I get to about 20, and I have the space for them, don't worry, it's not an overstock tank. Apparently they'll school really beautifully. So that's something I want to do. I want to get a bit more driftwood in it. I've got to take it. Oh, and the Monstera I planted are thriving. The Monstera are doing amazing. They're getting really big, but the problem is as well, they're leaning a lot. Like they're resting on the light. And I know that I can't have that happening. So I've got to find a way to, like, put some planting sticks in and tie them back and get them looking good. And once I hit that phase, I will definitely show you guys what it's all about. Yeah, I'm very proud of it. I do have a pond update. Obviously, I dug a pond last year as well. The waterfall that I bought for it is okay, but the pipes were dog shit and all got ripped and had holes everywhere. So the pond was, like, emptying out because of the waterfall. Which I was really scared it was going to be a leak, like a puncture in the actual lining that I'd installed, but it wasn't, because I'd gone with some good thick stuff, and instead it was just the waterfall pipe. Thank God for that, which is way easier to fix. So anyway, I'm buying all these different pipe fixtures and bullshit trying to fix it at the moment. It's a bit annoying, but hey, it's cool. It's nice to learn stuff like that. So, all right. It'd be cool to see a Guild Wars 1 account tour. I mean, we could do that for Reforged, certainly. Right, guys, here's what's going to happen. If you're unfamiliar with this, we are now going to actually cover what the hell the video's about and the thumbnail's about. Sorry to anyone waiting. This is going to get spun into a real dedicated, normal-ass video on YouTube, so my interaction with you guys in the live chat is going to go down for a little bit here as I talk a lot and rant. And then I'm going to run an outro, but that's just for the benefit of the people watching the video that will be posted in a couple of hours. After the outro, I'm immediately going to come back, so you don't have to turn off. I'll be here, and we'll see what we think in a Q&A type section, okay? Do I want to start from character select? No. All right. So yeah, let's do an intro here, and we'll see what we've got to say, and we'll see what Arenanet have got for us. I have no idea how long this will take. Oh shit, don't let me miss that. John Sellers. Dude, it's so good to see you. With 10 gift memberships, thank you. You guys have been all very generous at the moment. Thank you very much, guys. And especially a thank you to Mazdamundi, who just straight up gave himself a full membership. That's epic, man. That's effectively like joining me on Patreon, which makes me very, very happy. He asked a question. He said, hey, WP, good to see you. You're just rewatching the 14 playthrough. You got to the end of Stormblood. You're still hoping to take on Endwalker. I will, I promise. Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, Shadowbringers, Endwalker. We will do it, I promise. It is on the docket. It never made it for 2025, but it is there. Okay, thank you for that. All right. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another video. Arenanet kicking off the year with some good news here. Kind of news that we already knew, but we didn't have any good details about, and that is the Raid Strike merger. This idea that, you know, since the Icebreed Saga, we've had two forms of 10-man group endgame, and it's confusing, and it's silly, and it's a bit weird, and I don't think that the Strike mission idea was ever really a great initiative, even back in the Icebreed Saga. The modern devs have come along and they've said, look, we're going to unify these systems, we're going to join them together. So the first big update for Visions of Eternity is not a story update, which is also kind of new. The other mini-X packs always try to do story. This is effectively like a feature pack. Anyone who was covering the game or following the game back during Season 1, you'll remember these. In retrospect, I love the feature packs. They were always really, really big releases that shook the game and added meaningful stuff. They could be controversial at times, and I guess that's why Arenanet moved away from them. But I like the idea, and effectively, we've got a feature pack coming up. Now, the other big element of this, beyond the Strike and Raid merger, is going to be the fashion wardrobe. I don't think they really have any news for that today, so don't be too excited there. But the endgame stuff, they seem to have released a lot of details, including a little trailer. So I've got some screenshots we're going to run through. I've not fully read the blog, but I do have some minor little things spoiled. This just came out, like literally within the hour, this information just released. So we'll see what they have to say. I thought it would also be fun, opening this video. I just want to say what my wish list is and my expectations are. This is an update I'm really looking forward to. As someone, like one of the main things I do when I play Guild Wars 2 at this point is I don't really play my Ellie at the moment. I spend a lot of time on Conduit, on my Revenant. And, you know, I've done the achievements in the new expansions. I've done the stuff in the earlier areas of the game. I don't really have any long-term goals that I'm working on. So if I want to play Guild Wars, it's like, okay, I'll do a couple of raids. I'll do some strike missions. I'll play in those areas of the game because they're fun. And they keep me limber for when I go, you know, doing Mount Barrier and I go for Ura Legendary mode or something later in the week. So I'll often open up, I'll look for strikes, and I'll see that no one's really running them. Or they've got really high kill-proof requirements that are based on external add-ons and stuff, which I don't want to run. And I kind of feel like, ugh, there's nothing going on. I look at raids, and I see that there's nothing going on. There's just a bunch of sellers or people recruiting for stags. Right now, we're playing at prime time towards the end of the week, so there is a little bit more stuff going on. But with me, with my sleep schedules, quite often I'll be out in the middle of the night, and it just kind of feels lame. There's all this friction to actually get in a group and play. And the other option, of course, is for me to be, as a commander, set my own groups up. But then it's really annoying setting up the fact that we need the heal, we need the quickness, we need the alacrity, we need the subgroups set up correctly. It's a pain in the ass. And, you know, my hat goes off to everyone that does command and run these groups because it's just annoying. So, Arenanet are announcing that not only strikes and raids are being merged into one system, but hopefully we get a good quick play implementation, just like we had with Fractals. And they'll unify the rewards and everything. So here's my wish list. Here's what I want. I thought I'd write this stuff down. That's SteamDB for Guild Wars Reforged. So here's what I want. First of all, I want just one hub now when I'm entering this content. So one of the big problems I run into at the moment is we'll join an LFG for, say, the Icebrood Saga strikes. And for those, you have to start at the Eye of the North, which is annoying to waypoint to, costs money to waypoint to. You get in, you get the pop-up, and then, there's someone who's not joining the instance. And we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting, and there's loads of downtime. And then finally it turns out, it's because he thought that we had to start at the Aerodrome. Or he thought that we had to start at Arborstone, because he's looking at the End of Dragons strikes, or even at the Wizard's Tower. 3 hubs, so annoying. I believe in one goddamn hub. One hub that everyone can join from. I'm sick of all this annoying downtime and friction with every LFG, as people are just not quite in the right place or don't know how to join or where to go from. Hopefully by unifying them, this means they'll all technically be raids. I think we already had an announcement that they'll be called raid encounters and raid wings, and they're all done from the Aerodrome. That's it. Clean and easy. That's one thing I want to see. Second, LFG as well. Like, I don't really think it's a benefit and a value for the game to have the strike section and the raid section. There's a lot we could talk about LFG, and in fact, this time last year, I did a big overall what I want to see from Guild Wars kind of video, where I talked more broadly about this. But yeah, getting rid of the whole strike mission category at least, and just having a raid section. Maybe experienced training and, you know, very experienced. I mean, the training thing people don't tend to use. I mean, we could go really far with things, you know, actual in-game KP tracking, so we don't have to use the add-ons and stuff. I'm a believer in, because, again, there's more friction asking people to plug their API keys into these external websites and stuff. You know, there's terminology and things all these new players need to learn, like what is KP.me and all that kind of stuff. None of that should be there. It should all be hosted and facilitated by the game. I don't know whether this patch will have that stuff, though. That seems like it's a bit out of the wheelhouse. So, yeah, but at least a little bit of a look at LFG. And I have some things there. Unified, simplified rewards as well. Now, I'm really excited to see what they talk about in the blog post with this. Right now, we have, you know, we have blue shards for strike missions for old strikes, and green shards for new strikes, right? But there isn't technically a new strike for this expansion, because they did Mount Burial, which was a raid, and this new one, actually, I think there's a new encounter coming out too. I guess there's a raid as well. So you got blue and green, and then there's the crystals left over from Icebrood Saga, and that ridiculous, overly complicated chest at the Eye of the North. Let's get rid of all of this. I want to see these convert into magnetite. I want to see the things that we can buy be spent with magnetite. I just want to see Li and magnetite, really. And then the newest wing, whatever it is, can be gating crystals and some kind of unification there, which will be nice, I guess, for like the new player experience, which is what's always on my mind. This is a scene that wants more players, and I think getting new players in, unless they're scared because they've got so much stuff to learn, is the first thing to do. But just selfishly, I'm kind of excited about this, because when they convert everything, I wonder if that means certain rewards will be more accessible to me. Like, there's a bunch of strike mission unlocks that I don't have, because there's so many, like infinite combat tonics that are so expensive, and, you know, infusions and weapons from, say, like Old Lion's Court and whatever. So we'll see what we do there, what they do there. Okay, I've got written "go next" in air quotes now. So here's another thing that that's very much on my mind. Not so much when you do raid wings, because you get multiple encounters in a row when you're in a wing, but if you join an LFG for strikes, not only do you have this annoying, tedious stuff about the hubs, dipping, you know, going to different hubs, you're just constantly dipping in and out of instances, right? So, like, if you're doing the Icebrood Saga 5, which are incredibly easy and incredibly quick, you, like, join a strike, A couple of seconds later, you leave the strike to join another one, to leave, to join another one, to leave, to join another one, which is all annoying aggro for the commander and the players to sub. But also, these pop-ups are annoying. Sometimes when you come back, there'll be a bug where the pop-up doesn't appear. So now you need to know to go to another map and return to get it to pick up. But you might not notice that you've been the victim of that bug too quickly. You might not know how to resolve that bug because you're kind of new to the game. These all slow down the squads and how quickly we can get in and just play. It's a bit like with the fractal quick plays at the moment as well, where they're good, but I wish we could just go from island to island to island. What I want to be able to do is join a group, and like once we beat the golem, load us all 10 of us directly into the next one. Load us into the next one. Load us. That will be so much more seamless and again frictionless. So I'd like to see something along those terms. I'd like to see that for the fractal quick play as well. For raid wings, maybe it's not so necessary, but it would be kind of cool too, right? To go from say wing 1 into wing 2 into wing 3. Especially when they're a unified story like that. We see that with the Kadim wings as well. So yeah, I'm calling that go next. Back to LFG. I really want to be able to pin the raiding LFG section, right? Or whatever the LFG section is that's left. So, for example, when I come here, if I'm at the golem, right? Grinding out, practicing a rotation, learning to get better at the game, right? Maybe I don't want to just be at the golem. If someone posts in here, oh hey, I'm doing wing 5, anyone can join or whatever, I want to see that. I want to see two different things. I want to be able to first of all pin the entire raid category. So you know how with achievements you can click the little eyeball, right, and it will show on the top right of your client? I want to be able to do that with an entire category, so that in the bottom left here, you see my chat box on the top left here now, I guess, right? I've got this yellow text here from these items I got from the gem store where it says Chak Garen is spawning. It should post here. It should say, you know, it should just give me a line of text, whatever that LFG says, so that I can see, so that when I'm doing world bosses or when I'm, you know, doing anything in the open world, while I'm playing story, whatever, if what I really want to do is join some of this end game content, I can just flick my eye to the bottom left and I can see, oh shit, there's a post. And I can click it and it will pop this and I'll join it. Pinnable full category. But also what I'd like to do is to be able to pin an individual LFG. So say for example, this guy here, right? Dragon is Reborn. This player, Dragon is Reborn. He's standing at the Wizard's Tower right now, and he wants to do the Temple of Febe, right? And new players are going to have to learn what all the, you know, initialisms mean and stuff, and that's fine. I don't think Arenanet can really help that. He's looking for a boon heal, a boon DPS, and DPS players, right? But he only has 2 out of 10. That's slowly filling in. What I'd like to be able to do is click an eyeball on that, and it should pin it to the top right so I can see he's got 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. And then when it's maybe around 8 or 9, I could be like, all right, okay, I'm going to stop with the golem now. All right, I'm going to finish killing Tyder. I'm done with Tyder Covington. I'm going to join it. I'd like to be able to eyeball an individual listing. And where the benefit... So I just gave you the perspective of a player looking to join. But the real benefit of that is when you're hosting groups, right? If I want to do some really fringe, weird content, right? If I want to say, okay, let's do... You know, and we don't need... This doesn't even have to be a raiding strike thing, by the way. This could be anything. If I want to do the Battle for Lion's Arch or whatever, right? And I know I need to get 50 goddamn fit people. 50 people! Or we're setting up for some Convergent CMs. That's new, right? Convergent CMs. If I want to do that, I have so much more confidence knowing people will join over time because they can just pin it and keep their eye on it, right? You don't have to leave your World versus World squad yet. You don't have to leave your Wing 1 yet. You can just keep your eye on it. And once it gets up to 30, 40, you know, high 40s players, now people can swap. So again, I just think that would be really, really, really handy and would help these scenes grow. One thing that you guys will remember, hopefully, is that as soon as they did the Fractals quick play, LFG blew up. LFG was huge. So I think more updates, like if we're going to get a system update like this, LFG updates would be really big for me. Okay, next I've got a tuning pass, especially for junk strikes. Okay. Oh god, I hope this happens. Please, Arenanet. Alright, Gorseval to me is the poster child. I'm talking about power creep. I'm talking about balance. Gorseval is a beautiful fight, isn't it? You know, it's got this mechanic where you break the ghost walls. And you got to be able to split your damage between the main boss and the walls, and you got to be able to do that quickly. You got to have the mobility to get over to the walls to DPS them. Then you have to have the dexterity to fly out and hit the updraft to avoid his massive attack. You got to get back in. You got to have the damage and assign the players to stop the 4 spirits meeting him in the transition phases. You've got to avoid the egg prisms. Oh my god, so many mechanics. He's got those giant rings of death. So cool, except wait, none of it matters. Not a single mechanic matters for Gorseville now, except stability for his knockbacks. Nothing matters. The fight effectively doesn't exist anymore. It superficially exists because there's some art for it. You can still experience the arena and stuff. But Gorseville basically doesn't exist as a raid fight anymore because power creep has invalidated it. Power creep has basically made... Now, I don't know how closely you guys are following the game at this point, but I'm here to tell you, I joined a lot of pugs, right? Junk, fun, casual pugs. They are not optimized. They are not hardcore... You know, sweaty, try-hard players. I don't tend to thrive in those environments. I don't look forward to that kind of stuff. Just having fun, relaxed fun with the game. Just joining with very, very low-quality groups, right? Even in those groups, there is so much power creep in the game that, like, 80% of the content functionally doesn't exist anymore. It really doesn't. Like, huge swathes of it, and especially with strike missions. Like, the first strike mission is the Ice Golem, and it's nothing. All of the Icebrood Saga strike missions, frankly, all of them, even the harder one, like the Bone Skinner, basically, they have mechanics, but none of them matter. Nothing matters because of power creep. Now, I really believe in Arenanet fixing that up by at least making the bosses tanky enough that you can't just grind through anything because it doesn't matter, right? So I'd really like to see that. If they're unifying strikes and raids, right, I do not see how they can put a raid wing like Mount Baurior, right, which is meaningful content and does have tanky enough bosses, and the mechanics do matter. I don't, even in normal mode, right, I'm not talking about CMs or legendary modes or anything, I don't see how Mount Baurior can be put alongside the Icebrood Saga strikes and called the same thing. They're not remotely the same thing. The Icebrood Saga strikes are easier than and quicker than most world bosses. I think that this is a brilliant opportunity for Arenanet to create some kind of commonality. Bump up some of these old systems. This is a video game that famously does not have a gear treadmill and does not let you go past level 80. These are staple, you know, dopamine hits that you get in RPGs. Arenanet turned their backs on those staples of this genre, and they've been punished for that. They've lost user base over the years for that. They've turned their back on it in the name of not invalidating old content. That is the whole reason that they kept it at level 80. They said, we don't want to invalidate any old content. Well, Arenanet, you have invalidated it all. You've invalidated it through the back door with power creep, and you've cowardly not reined that in because you're scared of a little bit of negativity on Reddit around when the patch would happen. The reality is the game would be more fun and better off for it, and... You know, you can say, oh, but then I won't raid. That's fine. Raiding is just one small part of the game. This is a huge MMO with a plethora of content. Not every door has to be open. Not every feature has to be open for every player. And I think it's fine. So I would like to see that very, very much. I know that this always creates big, endless, tedious debates that I've been having for 5, 6, 7 years in a row. And, you know, maybe have lost their luster at this point. But that is how I feel. I think this is a good opportunity to at least create just a bit of parity there. Because there is some good content. I would say Dagda is good. Like, in terms of pacing and where the power creep is. Dagda, Temple of Febe, Mount Baurior, that's kind of where it should all feel to be. Currently, the content, like, you can learn a build. You can get a new build. You can learn how to play it, you know, and how to execute it best with the right rotation. And just have zero fun because you get about 20 seconds of content. Not even that. You get 15 seconds and then they go invulnerable in phase. And then you barely hit it and they go invulnerable in phase. And then you barely hit it and they go invulnerable in phase. That's not fun. Even when we're not lamenting the loss of meaningful experiences, that in and itself is just not fun. And it skews the balance in weird ways as well, in terms of certain spiky builds are the only ones that are worth playing. So anyway, a tuning pass, please. That's what I want to read on this blog post in just a second. Next, I have squad labels. We've talked about that a few times. If I'm a commander... Well, no, not even if I'm a commander. It would be nice if players could join, and if there's, say, a quickness build, they can just right-click their icon in the squad UI and assign themselves as blue, which means, hey, that's QDPS, or red, which means ADPS. I don't know what the community would settle on, but that would be such a simple thing that, again, would mean a lot more commanders would run, a lot more LFGs would be popping off, a lot more people would get into this stuff, because I believe it's not necessarily that it's meaningful, challenging content that scares people off. It's all this friction getting into it. And then finally, okay, if they don't do a tuning pass with the difficulty, or even if they do, I'd like to see some kind of categorization system for these fights. Like, maybe the Ice Golem is a 1-star encounter. If Arenanet really think that's acceptable, if they really think that's actually worthwhile experience in the game, then let's call those 1-star fights, right? And let's call Mount Barrier a 4-star fight, right? And let's call Ura Legendary Mode a 6-star fight, right? Give me, like, a difficulty classification, and I think that could be really fun as well for the future, because Arenanet could actually market that. They could say, okay, next expansion, we're doing our first ever 8-star fight. We're doing our first 9-star fight, and that kind of excites people, you know, and that gets them, you know, engaged. So people who are actually interested in this format, who are looking for a challenge. So there you go. That's where I'm at. That's my wish list. That's what I want. Let's see what Arenanet revealed in the blog post today. I'm blind now, guys. I don't know what they're saying. New raid encounter, quick play, and raid system improvements coming February 3rd. So this is just 2 weeks away. Come on. Raid strike unification. The first major update for Guild Wars 2 Visions Eternity is on its way, and coming with it, a new raid encounter, as well as a major update for raids and the raid encounters formerly known as strike missions. Our goal with all of these is to unify Guild Wars 2's challenging instance endgame content while making it easier to navigate. We introduced some of our thinking behind this change shortly before the expansion launched, which you can read here, and indeed I've done a video on that already, and now we're ready to share some additional details. Okay, yeah, because last time we got a very loose, like, work in progress image. It wasn't that impressive, really. So what I'm interested in here is this is a screenshot of the aerodrome to be in 2 weeks, and it now has that giant red portal. I'm guessing that's like one unified portal for all strikes. So they might hit something on the wish list straight away. Hopefully you can go to that and you can get into any of them, past, present, and future. The other doors, I guess, for the wings are still there. It's not like they got rid of those, though. What else have we got? The unification of raids. Starting with the upcoming release, strike missions will be known as raid encounters. Because they're basically just going to be encounters and wings. And they will be available alongside Rain Wings in the Looking for Group panel. Excellent, that's all unified. As well as the new raid UI and every raid portal. Through the raid UI, squad leaders will be able to select which encounter to enter, including specific bosses. Oh, okay, so the one big giant portal is everything, strikes and raids, right? Because they're all one. Including specific bosses of multi-encounter wings and all challenge modes. Ah, so what does that mean? We can skip to Sabbatha, for example? We can say, I don't want to do just all of Wing 1, I want to do Sabbatha. Right now, when my static meets to do Ura LM, we often have an annoying moment where we have to find an opener for Ura. Because she's the third fight, and we don't want to waste time on the other fights. We've only got a couple of hours to play together. We don't want to waste time getting there. It's funny, because I was actually watching people play the newest Final Fantasy XIV stuff, and, you know, they have, like, a door boss at the end of the last thing, which is kind of how... But this is good. This is good. We can skip through, and we won't have to pay 5 gold or whatever every single time. The UI will also track encounter clears for the week. Ah, that's good. Currently, if you run Timey Hard or Blish Hard or Nexus or, you know, any of these add-ons, you can plug your API keys into them if they're not broken, like mine is, and they would track those. Third-party apps would track those, but that's now native. That's excellent. Squad leaders will also be able to move the squad. I always thought they should do that through, like, a unified weekly rewards section in the achievement panel, but hey. Squad leaders will also be able to move the squad directly between raid maps without first needing to exit a raid before entering a new one, leading to a more seamless experience with fewer loading screens. So yes, that was on the wish list, and they've actually done it. I just want to say, I kind of knew this bit already. So there's a video. They've done a little trailer. I think I have a screenshot of the trailer in here somewhere. which just kind of shows some of the UI in action. And in it, what they show, basically, guys, is when you're in an instance, you get the little leave instance button above your minimap over here on the bottom right, behind Liss's head. You can now right-click that, and it will pop a panel for you, so you can take the whole squad through, which is amazing. And I hope we see that treatment for fractals too. So here's a little look at the UI. I guess this is what pops up. This is very similar to what we saw before. So you've got core game has Old Lion's Core. It's so funny to just see that on its own. I hope one day, Arenanet, we get the Zaitan fight there. Please. Please. Come on. Zaitan fight for the core game. So good. Anyway, Heart of Thorns there. And so they do have the difficulty rating. That was evident from the previous screenshot. So, I don't like that, though. They're calling Bastion of the Penitent 3 out of 5 stars? That is not right. That is not true. Bastion is like 2-star. I don't know. Well, is it 3? The main issue, Bastion is 2-star right up until, with the exception of one mechanic, and that's blacks. The black mechanic at Deimos is the one mechanic that people struggle with, and they genuinely do. Like, it does stall a lot of groups. Does it deserve 3 stars because of a single spell a single boss casts at the very end of the wing? That's interesting they gave a rating for the entire wing, actually. Wouldn't you give a rating per encounter? Like, you cannot call the Massar Overseer anything but 1 star, right? And hell, even the first encounter in Bastion nowadays, if you're playing it normal mode, people just put a bit of stab up and you just stand there and he just dies. I don't know. Again, it comes down to the power creep. And that's another issue. If they don't take this moment to address the power creep, which I just ranted about, right? If they don't take this moment to address the power creep, then their base difficulties are going to end up all over the place. Let's imagine a world where they fix the power creep. Maybe Bastion of the Penitent deserves 3 stars there as well then. Also, I don't like how they've set the UI up, because that doesn't allow it to be expandable in the future. If they gave it, like having those empty radials, that sucks. I would have just given it stars. There should just be 3 stars there. And then later you can add a 4th, 5th, 6th. Don't add a top end. Don't add a sense of this is as hard as it will ever get. So I don't know whether I really agree with that. I'm probably bike shedding here, though. Yeah, I learned that term recently, guys. Bike shedding is a great term. Really, really useful. Okay, so let's move on. Raid encounter Quickplay. Okay, so here's the other side, the matchmaking element of it. The question is, will you be able to match Quickplay everything? Certain encounters are going to be a pain in the arse to Quickplay because their mechanics require so many dedicated roles. Take Kadim 1, for example. You need a guy holding Kadim, you need a guy for the lamp, you need people set up for a lot of stuff, and throwing 10 random players together. You might be able to muddle your way into having quickness and alacrity and all of that, but then those other roles, it might end up a pain in the arse. One of my solutions to that, actually, I think, is to actually look at the mechanics and change and have them randomly get assigned to one of the 10 players, so everyone has to learn it. Like lamp, for example, that doesn't have to be one assigned player. That should just be everyone has to know how to do lamp to beat the fight, and you'll randomly get picked lamp. Just as you randomly get chosen by the Eye of Janthir at Deimos, for example. If that was a dedicated thing, it would be infinitely harder to LFG that fight, because people would offload it to one person. But if the actual mechanics of the fight itself include a random chance anyone might get it, everyone just has to get on that level, and LFG is smooth. So that's one way through it. Let's see what they've done. Raid encounter Quickplay. From the raid UI, selecting Quickplay will allow you to enter the queue. When the queue completes and you accept the raid, you and your new squad mates will be transported into the raid. Nobody will be assigned a commander or lieutenant role by default, and all players will have the option to put down markers and start ready checks. All players in Can anybody claim it? Are they scared people will troll by doing that? All players in Quickplay will have an effect applied that provides moderate bonuses to help groups succeed regardless of party composition. Oh god, is that like free Jadebot quickness, so that alac doesn't matter, quickness doesn't matter, healing doesn't matter? I tell you, if they've done that, then I was on a rant about this to you guys, the spuds in the Discord. You guys can find a link in the description if you want to join Discord. You know, the DNA of this game is it is a Buildcraft game, all right? And slowly over the years, they forced more and more homogeneity. Shit, how do we say that? Things have become more homogeneous. Homogeneity? Oh, that's weird to me. Is that what they're doing? We should read on, right? Hold on. Upon successful completion of the encounter, you'll be presented with the option to stay in your party and go to the Lion's Arch Aerodrome, or leave the party and return to the map you were in before. Oh, that sounds just like Fractals. I'd rather it pops up the next encounter straight away. You take a vote. You know, like when a PvP matchmaking queue pops? It should be, give me 3 random options or whatever of some new fights, and we vote to stay or leave. That would be cool. And throw me straight into the next wing or fight. Like the Quickplay queue for Fractal the Mist, the Raid Quickplay queue does not try to do any matchmaking for party comp. Likewise, it's been curated to include encounters that pose a roughly similar challenge to randomly matched groups of players. At launch, this includes... Okay, what have they gone with? Aetherblade Hideout, which is already one of the... I would consider one of the power crept encounters, by the way. It's kind of unfun. It phases so fast. Anyway, but it's alright. Aetherblade Hideout, Whisper of Jormag, Bone Skinner, Cosmic Observatory, Temple of Febe, Junlai Jade Junkyard, Old Lion's Court, Kaineng, Overlook. They're not similar difficulty. Those last two are way harder. Okay, I agree with all of those. Okay, that's not the easiest fights. That's like 2-star fights to me. They're all like 2-star fights, except OLC and Kaineng Overlook. I would say they're 3-star, and people might get annoyed to get those, especially Kaineng Overlook, especially that one. They might have added Kaineng Overlook in, though, because that's a part of getting the turtle. And they might be upset about, you know, some people are stuck feeling like they can't get the turtle. Okay, so what does this say to me? This says to me that Arenanet are happy to have a massive disparity in difficulty. And I'm alright with this. I was scared for a second there as we were reading this. I was very concerned that they were just going to have the easiest stuff. I was scared that we were going to be able to quick play for the Ice Golem, and we were going to be able to quick play for the Freynear, and we were going to be able to quick play for Mersat Overseer or something. But no, it's not that. They've and largely it's just strike missions, right? There's no raids in there. Classic raids. What are your plans for the future, though, Arenanet? What are your plans? Because of its newness, the new raid encounter will not be a part of the quick play pool, and there is no bonus event planned for the raid quick play at its launch. Yeah, that's fine. I think Perfect World, guys, the newest content is not in quick play, but old stuff is. I mean, if we can eventually get there, that would be cool. Do you know what? I just want to say, things might not be perfect, but I'm so happy Guild Wars is actually doing stuff like this. I'm so happy they're putting real systems, real engineering work, real talent behind this, and actually doing this stuff. I would genuinely say for about a 7-year period, I never would have dreamed we'd ever get to this. So this is, like, just in terms of as an initiative, you might say I'm a boiled frog and my bar is too low or whatever, but I'm so happy that we're even in this conversation right now. How does this work if you don't have the X-Packs is a really good question as well. Maybe you just get locked out and it won't give you, it can't roll. I don't know, but then we're splitting the quick play. So here's that screenshot. So we have Whisper of Jormag there. Choose starting boss event. We can click through there. That's more relevant for the wings, right? Cold water. Look, that's interesting too. Look at that. They have forging steel on there. So we'll be able to use this to get into that, and that's fair. So basically, they've put everything as long as it's 10-man. Because you know what we're all going to be asking ourselves 2 years down the... As soon as this all goes well, everybody, you know what we're all going to be asking ourselves 2 years down the line? We're going to be asking ourselves, what about 50-man content, right? What about the Battle for LA? What about the Marionette? What about even just world bosses? And facilitating grouping for that. But one step at a time, I guess. Okay, rewards, achievements, and leaderboards. Now, yeah, I must admit, I saw this leaderboard thing as I was grabbing screenshots for this video. You'll notice on my wish list, I don't have anything about leaderboards. I don't care about leaderboards. There is actually quite a cool website, a third-party website that's tracking cool leaderboards and stuff. Overall, I don't think it's what this scene needs to be healthy and happy and grow. I don't think it should be a priority. It would not be at the front of the queue for me at all. So I'm kind of meh about this, but we'll see what they got. Especially seeing how the leaderboards in-game with adventures and stuff have operated over the years. How people have managed to hack the game and cheat, and they never get purged and stuff like that. Seeing how leaderboards ended up rather uninteresting even in Guild Wars 1 context. But we'll see. Rewards have been normalized across raid wings and encounters. Okay, well that's good. This includes the conversion of profit shards to magnetite. Magnetite and gating crystals will still be the currency for raid rewards moving forward. Perfect! That's exactly what I wanted! Gating crystals for the newest stuff. Magnetite for the older. That's it! That's it. What are you doing about the chest in the Other North, though? To accommodate this change, the weekly cap for magnetite has been raised to 800. Raid bosses have been grouped into 5 categories based on difficulty. Each boss in the same category will award the same amount of magnetite. The higher the difficulty, the more the rewards. And by the way, I'm sure those exclusive rewards that can drop from individual things are still going to be there. Quickplay raids provide reduced amounts of the same currency as their non-Quickplay version. Additionally, the reward for raids encounters is now gated weekly to be consistent with raid wing bosses. Okay. 3 new raid exclusive rewards, including a new Doom-themed Skyscale skin. Wow, there's a Skyscale skin coming in? Actually, the most recent Gem Store update had some Visions of Eternity cool Inquest skins, but they're Gem Store instead of in-game rewards, and that quite disappointed me. But okay, a new Skyscale have been added to the raid system as a part of the update. They're not locked behind the same weekly gate. Separately, a new raid rewards vendor will offer both one-time and weekly items in exchange for currencies. This is the kind of thing, guys, keep an eye on the channel. When this update actually comes out, we'll get in and we'll see what the specifics are. But that sounds alright. They didn't expand on the leaderboard thing. A new daily category, Raid Boss Bounties, will highlight raid encounters and raid wing bosses for bonus rewards. Are they going to get rid of the emboldened wing thing? Sure. Currently in game, one wing gets emboldened and, you know, it's easier and gives you more rewards. Do we need both, or are they just going to replace one with the other? The Raid God achievement and several other new raid achievements have been added. That's a good idea, Raid God. That will get a lot of people grinding away for hours. And updates have been made to several wings and encounters to create achievement parity, including mentor achievements for the raid wings that didn't have them. Yeah, mentor achievements are good, but are in currently only some of the newer stuff. Raid achievements that are not... That's all excellent, by the way. So good, everything they just listed there.
So, what should we do?
And ideas I didn't even have on my list, but they're all 10 out of 10. Raid achievements that are not associated with Quickplay cannot be completed in Quickplay raid encounters.
Someone determined a way to suppress the
Okay.
intruder?
However, 2 new Quickplay specific achievements have been added. There's a weekly achievement with rewards for completing up to 10. Now, for Fractals, they gave us legendary gloves. Is there a cheeky little legendary armor piece for raid Quickplays? A single-time multi-tier achievement for completing Quickplay raids that awards new relics from the upcoming release. Ah. Well, you guys know me. I'm not very impressed with the relic system as it currently stands, but it's something. We're also thrilled to introduce new... They're thrilled, are you? To introduce new raid leaderboards for challenge mode completions. These are similar to those used for adventures and will display global top completion times as well as your own time for raid challenge mode. Your own time will be vaguely interesting. Okay, so here's a bit of the leaderboard UI. Bastion of the Penitent. Somebody beat it in 2 seconds. Okay. But what are they going to do? Oh, that's got Richie there. What are they going to do in terms of, like, clearing it out and making sure it's safe? What about the fact that when Visions of Eternity, just to take one example, released, they added a bunch of power crept elite specializations, and that was fine because we knew they were going to get nerfed, and now they have been nerfed. But people got a bunch of records during that time and low-mans during that time that are not possible anymore. Are you going to reset the leaderboards every balance patch? Okay, I'll tell you what. If they reset the leaderboards every major balance patch, not the minor balance patches and hot fixes, right? But every major balance patch, I'm happy with this. But if they don't reset the leaderboards, what's it worth, you know? That's something to think about. And this is one of those things as well that they could have, would have, should have done with leaderboards across adventures in the past and never did. So they haven't set a great precedent. Coming soon! Everything we discussed today will be shown in detail during a live stream. So check it out on Friday, guys. They'll do a live stream. I'll be there in chat watching this. We hope everybody likes to jump in. And there you go. That's it. That's the blog post. Wow. Okay, listen, this video has been really long. There's a lot of things I want to discuss, and I'm sure a lot of ideas that you guys have. Please, feel free, drop some comments, give me your thoughts, and also, what I will be doing is continuing this with a bit of live chat. So if you click the if you go to the WoodenPotatoes channel and click the live tab, you'll see an expanded version of this where we have a lot more back and forth. I want to hear what you guys think. I want to talk a little bit about that strange bonus for quick plays buff thing. That will be quite interesting. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. It's good to be able to cover something positive and fun for Guild Wars, and yeah, should all be happening very soon. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had a great Christmas and New Year's, and I'll see you soon.
Dynamics people are all the same. If you can't attach it to a golem, you blow it up.
We work on the edge for the sake of progress. I mean, who's ever heard of a bridge transforming society?
How quickly they forget. Perhaps you remember a little event called the Great.
There you go. You guys get to listen to a little bit of the Ratasum ambient dialogue while we were on the black screen there. Okay, we're back. Yeah, guys, what do you think? Sorry, I really want to get to chat here now and see what you guys think. I'm fascinated by that. They gave, like, no details. Let's see here again. They gave no info. All players in Quickplay will have an effect applied that provides moderate bonuses to help groups succeed regardless of party comp. That sounds to me, regardless of party comp, doesn't that sound like they're going to give you free alacrity and free quickness? Because those are the two big pain points, right? Arenanet, is it not time to look at the elephant in the room and figure out what your Trinity is? I have to say, if they had done the squad UI thing where we could assign a color to ourselves, they wouldn't need to do this. You could just trust the community themselves would figure out. Like, for example, when you do a fractal quick play, I'll do one right now. Okay, actually, here's what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to go onto my conduit. This is power conduit. It has absolutely zero utility. Zero quickness, zero alacrity. There is a quick version, right? Now, if I quick play a fractal here, sometimes, very often you do join and you do get quickness provided by someone, and more rarely you get alacrity. Very irregularly you get a healer, but you don't need a healer for T1, so that's fine. There's a lot of questions about how all this quick play stuff is going to go, like, as they start making the content harder. Right now, fractals are fine. Oh god, of course we got the longest fucking one. Right now, quick plays are fine because it's all really easy. So it doesn't really matter if you don't get anyone. But basically, if we go into the first fight and we discover that, you know, we don't have the boons. Someone gave me quickness there, right? So, but if we discover we don't, you can very easily build swap, right? And that's one of the values of having swappable build templates. But you can't really do that when it's an encounter. People are going to go and pull the encounter, they're going to wipe, and then they have to make the swap. Because you can't, there's no, like, trash to decide as it goes along. Like, it's not an ongoing thing, right? So, in a weird way, having, like, those mini door bosses and things would have been nice for this. But people are going to do a pull against the boss, and then they're going to see, oh, I don't have any boons. And, yes, some groups could then figure it out. But let's be honest, a lot of people are just going to instantly quit out. I don't know, but that depends on, like, punishment as well. I don't even know what the punishment is. If I quit out of this LFG right now, right, because this quick play, sorry, right now, because I saw that it was a really long fractal, how do I get punished? Do I get locked out of the system, or, like, what's the deal? I don't really know what the story is there. So Arenanet's solution to all of this is just kill that aspect of the Buildcraft? My question to you, Arenanet, is what is the game? Where is the joy in the game? Because you're tacitly saying at that point, fuck it, none of this is fun. It's pure friction. There's no value to having this quickness, alacrity paradigm. And if that's what you're saying, then be confident, get off your ass, and make balance changes to account for that. Kill quickness, kill alacrity. I think a lot of the more veteran, experienced players will be on board with that. You know, I don't want to get onto a massive rant about all the ways in which they hold it back and make it annoying to learn builds and stuff that other games, especially GCD-based games, don't have to deal with. So let's see. Sorry. So chat, what do we think? Sam says there's an MMO Lite that does matchmaking the way you're describing. It's called Where Wins Me. I'd love for Arenanet to look at it and take some ideas from them. Wait, what do you mean like I'm describing? We've described a lot. Are we still pretending that separation of concerns for build comps isn't a basis for healthy buildcraft and a build system in general? Everybody can do what everyone else does? Can you rephrase that? What do you mean? Are you sort of advocating for buildcraft and saying it's sad to kill it? Because yeah, I get that's kind of what I'm coming down to, you know, like it's funny I was talking about Heroes Ascent earlier. Who has the hammer? Does no one have the fucking hammer? Time to look at RAR. Oh, 5, 0, 10, 62. The reality is I don't think anyone picked it up. I knew I shouldn't have dropped it. Even as I was doing so, I knew I shouldn't have dropped it. It's funny I mentioned Heroes Ascent because some of my favorite buildcraft experience in this franchise, lifetime, is having those 8 players. That deck, right? They're your deck of cards, right? You've got those 8 hands, right? And figuring out what utility you can bring, what damage you can bring, what builds you can run with. Like, that shit was so fun. And Guild Wars 2 has just been stepping away from it, and it's just like... to get that port to get there. I don't know, why have a Buildcraft layer at all at a certain point? I don't know, I'm being pretty hyperbolic right now. But also, what is Quickplay for? To get new players into the scene? But it's not teaching them anything about what these groups need. It's not teaching them how to command their own group, their own teams, if it provides the quickness and alacrity for them. Which again, that's a raw assumption. Does anyone in chat want to say to me that that's not the case at all, and I'm being a fool? What do you guys think it means? Is the Condi Conduit UI? No, the UI is working. It's just turned off at the moment because of updates. It does work. It does work. Don't worry, Venny. It's good to see you, though, by the way, as well. I always get worried that, you know, because we didn't do any videos over Christmas, it means you won't see people. Faces will disappear. They'll move on. You got the hammer? Shouldn't he have an icon over his head? There you go. But yeah, like here we have 0 boons, so it's very simple for me to say, okay, I'm going to play Quick Herald. Or alacrity or whatever, but I would always go power quickness, right? It's okay, here we go, look. Now we have quickness. But the nature of fractals makes this doable. Raiding counters, not so much. It's amazing how much double tapping Shiro F2 feels exactly like playing Conduit and just tapping release. I mean, it feels almost identical. You can get multiple hammers in Quickplay. Oh, that's true as well. Yeah, I forgot about that. You can get multiple hammers. I loathe this. This is kind of what we're talking about, consistency with the raiding counters as well. You know, like, I don't know, man. Oh, shit, what's it called? Kining Overlook. Minister Lee. Minister Lee is going to be to raiding Quickplay what Cliffside is to Fractal Quickplay. It's going to be the one where you load in and you're like, ugh. Even if you have confidence the group will do okay, it's long. It's so much longer than those others.
Such might.
Some super speed for you, sir. Maybe Arenanet has given up the idea of easier content being a bridge to harder content. No, I don't actually think they have given it up. The fact that they've gone with a formal difficulty categorization system is a sign to me they haven't given up on it. I think what they've noticed, and I think this is very astute, I think this is correct to notice, what they've noticed is you don't need this whole other section for LFG. You don't need this whole other term, strike missions. You don't need this whole other subculture, this whole other mini environment that is easier to be your bridge. Your bridge can exist within raids. And in fact, creating that mini environment, as the Iceberg Saga did when it invented strikes, is kind of bad. It's convoluted, it silos people into specific boxes, you know? Take any old new player. I want you to imagine a scared, sad, quiet little nerd, right? That they have no confidence that they know how to play the game. They're afraid to get into Discord channels. They're afraid to have their voice heard, which, by the way, I am. I fucking hate getting in Discord rooms with strangers. I hate it. You know, they don't want to be judged. They don't want their DPS logged. They're nervous enough to get into this shit, right? It's really fun content, but they're nervous as it is to get in. If you could give them a safe little box called strikes, they'll never wander out of that box. They won't leave it. But if that box is just raids, it's just, oh, I'm just going 1 star of difficulty up. I'm just going up a little bit. Psychologically, that's a lot smarter, right? And I'm sorry to say this, right? But live service game development, it is just psychology, right? It is just how to manipulate people to do the things that you want them to do, right? And Strikes was just really, 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 really fucking stupid and silly. Strikes, to me, is like second only to raids themselves and pandering to fucking World of Warcraft players and going to 10-man when we never should have. All this content should be 5. Anyway, yeah, so... kind of ranted myself off topic there. I don't know what we were talking about. No, I think they do believe in a bridge. It's just 1 star, right? I'm only going to do the 1-star fights. Or, in fact, Quickplay is going to throw you in the deep end on... I don't really know what... I mean, if Quickplay is supposed to be your starting point, surely that should be the 1-star stuff. And 1 star as it currently stands shouldn't exist. Sorry, let me articulate that a little bit better. They're calling Unker 3-star, right? Because they're calling Ice Golem 1-star. 1 star shouldn't exist, Arenanet. It shouldn't. Who does that benefit? Who does that serve? And just to really drive the point home, maybe we can do it here, actually. No one's running it. Of course they're not. Like doing the Ice Golem doesn't teach anyone anything. It probably teaches you more about jumping puzzles than the actual fight, you know, the bit running in. I remember the people that are there in the Icewood Saga, they're not actual noobs. They've been playing for hundreds of hours, potentially. Even if you only just install... Let's say you got Guild Wars 2 bought for you this Christmas, right? Someone just bought you this game. By the time you get to the Icewood Saga Golem, you've played, what? At least 50 hours in Corteria. You've probably played a bunch in Heart of Thorns, a bunch in Path of Fire, getting the mounts, getting the gliding, getting all that stuff. Possibly skipped around a bit, right? Possibly skipped ahead to the newer expansions where it is a bit tougher. When you're finally at the point of doing those strikes, you don't need to be taught how to press a couple of buttons against the Ice Golem. It accomplishes nothing. There's no dopamine hit there beyond just being a loot pinata. And I think better of the studio and better of the game to just serve loot pinatas to people, please. Let's do better than that, right? Like, it doesn't teach you anything. You learn everything that teaches you in what? The end of your level 30 personal story? You know? Like, it's not valuable. So when I say 1 star as it currently exists shouldn't exist, that's what I mean. 1 star should be the the Golem, but it should be around Anka level, right? And then everything else steps up. Okay, so on reflection, I'm disappointed to see they didn't do any of that. I mean, there really was no balance pass. Gorseval is still basically a dead, empty, hollow shell, a husk of an encounter. You know, I would feel a bit better at least if there was some kind of statement from the studio about it. Why are you so reticent? Why are you so cowardly on this topic, right? All I can do is guess. All I can do is guess that you're scared of the backlash. But again, all I have to say is not every backlash actually matters. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts. Sorry, let me throw the conversation back to you guys. I don't like my ranty tone. Let's see what everyone else says. So Leary says, on the nature of quickness and alacrity, get rid of both of them or retool them to make them more strategic access so you have them up when you need them rather than 100% uptime. I do believe in rolls, by the way. I do I just believe in them in a more piecemeal way. I prefer a world where there's no alacrity and quickness. I do. I say nuke them, rip the bandage off, and let the players figure out builds after that. It's so much better. So it means you can practice it anywhere in the game. You don't have to go to a golem and put all these fucking boons on you. But I do believe in niches, right? So even without those, I believe in some fights where we want to bring heaps of Vuln, because Vuln is double effective against this boss, but he cleanses it quick, right? So this is a one where I'm on a warrior, right? And I use one of my flexible utility skills to run on my mark on this fight. Hey, that's fun. That's different. I use a different elite spec this time because this elite spec does more Vuln, right? So I do believe in minor things like that. I believe in a fight where super speed is super valuable. I believe in a fight where you know, having ranged players, and I believe elite specializations that are good at range is worthwhile. Only a couple of classes really have that delineated right now, such as Virtuoso. We were talking about Renegade in that slot the other day. You know, I do believe in that. I believe in Buildcraft, and I believe in being able to make fun little intelligence swaps, especially for utility skills. That shit's fun, and for that there needs to be a balance pass. And they need to do shit about, like, utility classes where all you can ever do on utilities is just spam the same damage buttons all the time, and you effectively don't have a choice. You know, I believe in encounters where cleanse is more important. I believe in encounters where reflects are more important. I like that stuff. I like it. I believe in encounters where immob is more important. Gorseval is an example of an encounter where you might want to bring a bunch of immob to help you through that transition phase, right? We bring lots of cleanse and reflects for Greer. That stuff's good, and Arenanet can push that. And that will accomplish everything that's fun about Buildcraft that alacrity and quickness are currently trying to do. Alacrity and quickness are just tedious, though, right? Because they're ubiquitously needed, and they're just a chore to assign. They're baggage on the Quickplay, or will be baggage on the Quickplay system. And so, yeah, I believe in ripping them out. I do. The game probably has a lot of players that just want to turn their brains off and enjoy the very nice gameplay loops, so they're probably considering that versus those that want to challenge. Okay, two things. One, if that's with regard to quickness and alacrity, so leave it. They want to turn their brains off. Actually, it's more brain off to remove those facets of the game. It's less friction to remove those. There's a very superficial thing of, oh, it feels good to go fast, but you don't. That's not a real criticism. That doesn't actually matter. That's ignorable. The other side of that, though, that I want to say is they're not doing a balance pass because people just want to turn their brains off. Listen. Not everything in Guild Wars 2 has to appeal to every player. Listen, if I'm a Guild Wars 2 player and I just want to turn my brain off and run around, I have got mountains of content for that. I have every open world map in the game. I have all the personal story. All the personal story is brain off. I have every world boss. I have every fucking... I have achievement collecting. I have zerging in World versus World. Yeah, come at me. Right? I have fucking unranked in PvP. I have low tier fractals. There is so much in Guild Wars 2 that already covers that consumer base. That demographic is feasting. That demographic has everything it could ever want. I do not accept a person, a theoretical person from that demographic coming to me and saying, yeah, I want to brain off in raids as well. At a certain point, you have to say that within our game, there are certain audiences we're aiming for. Sorry, but raiding is for the harder, more organized stuff. We want a thriving community, so to that extent, we will try to get as many people in it as possible. But it cannot compromise on the experience itself. If you're compromising on the experience that raids give you, which is a challenge, that's what they're there for. If you bastardize that and kill that in the pursuit of a healthier audience, you may as well have killed the scene altogether, because you're no longer providing anything, right? Like, it's there to serve a function. It's there to be the difficult stuff. And if you take that away, pandering to broad demographics, you've killed it. And, like, this should be 101. Like, what I'm saying right now isn't difficult. And especially for people that should be university educated and have done, like, video game design. They should know that. They should get that. So, yeah, I don't agree with leaving the power creep just so that we can brain off. Like, that's not... It's not a tolerable argument to me. Like, there will be people on Reddit that complain about it because they self-interestedly were going for Envoy armor and they self-interestedly were looking for those loot pinatas. But again, that's not, like... like, as far as the product exists, I don't think that matters. Yeah, they'll be upset, and then they'll stop being upset after a while, right? Like, again, I use this line all the time, and it's because I believe it. I think Arenanet have to be the adult in the room sometimes. And sometimes your kid cries because you're making them eat some vegetables, right? But that doesn't mean that you listen to them. And I get it, you can call me an elitist or whatever, but I don't really think it matters when, again, 99% of Guild Wars caters to you. I would say this is like, everything I'm saying is like problematic and an issue if I was arguing the entire game needs to be this way. I'm not taking the game away from you, but I am saying raids for the raiders. And I don't think that should be controversial, and I don't think we should all get, you know, our knickers in a twist and be concerned and overly accommodating. You know, sometimes that's the way it is. So that's my feeling on that. I don't agree. All the classes are just spammy, complex rotations off cooldowns now. It's not brain off and chill at all. Well, it can be, but trust me, you can play those. Dude, you can turn your brain off for VG. I promise. I promise. And it doesn't matter, all right? You don't have to play optimally to clear 99% of this content, as it currently stands. On the earlier topic of Buildcraft being fun or not, I think it's telling that the main reward for grind, legendaries, is you'll never have to deal with stupid gear stats for this slot again. Wow, that's another rabbit hole, isn't it? That's another little grumpy thing. I think we should celebrate Buildcraft. I think it should be easy and frictionless. I don't think we should have to grind for it. I ardently disagree with the legendary armory. I always have. I think it's a slap in the face to the fundamental principles of Guild Wars 2. It's disgusting. This bullshit where I only get this because I went up to legendary is ridiculous. And to be honest, guys, this is maybe the third or fourth topic like this where I just often think like, okay, the new devs that are there don't see the game the way that I do. Like, it's changed now, and they have all these different principles. They have all these different fundamentals. They don't care about these ideas, and it makes me feel like an alien to the game and like way less enthusiastic about the game because of shit like that. But, you know. This is going back a bit, but are quick and alacrity actually the issue, or are Aegis stab CC heal mechanics that turn encounters into golems culprits? No, I think they're all really fun elements, and one of the most enjoyable things for me is to play a build. It doesn't matter. I could be a lack build, I could be a quickness build, I could be a heal build, I could be a raw DPS build, but playing a build and emergently tapping an Aegis because I know an attack's coming, or a stability button because I know an attack's coming, that's pure endorphins. That's so fun. That is one of the only dynamic action moments of decision making there. That is so fun. I would never want to get rid of that. Never. I can honestly say the reason most of the content is junk now is because there's too much damage. And if Arenanet aren't going to fix that by nerfing the classes themselves, which is dicey because people will say, oh, I got nerfed, and they'll get upset and they'll log out, right? Then I think, yeah, just inflate the bosses of the health bosses. And I think people respond to that solution by saying that's lazy, but actually no, I say it's lazy to say that's lazy. It's like, you know that meme of the idiot and then the guy that's really mad and then the guy in the hood that's really zen, and it's like a bell curve, right? This is that meme, right? You can, if you're an idiot, you say it's lazy, or you can think about it for ages and ages and ages. Sorry, basically it seems lazy, and then you think, oh, it's a really bad idea, but actually it's a very good idea, and it does resolve a lot of the problems. Take a fight like Sabbather. A lot of players suck at Sabbather now. They really suck. Cannons fail, flak fails, people don't run personal bombs out. It's just chaos everywhere, and the platform is dying, and the platform will be ruined. But it doesn't matter because you kill Sabbather in just a couple of minutes. Sabbather dies so fast, you don't need to know the mechanics. Gorseval dies so fast, you don't need to know the mechanics. VG dies so fast, you don't need to know the mechanics. Slothazor as well, control of the area. And the idea of, like, do you know how hard Slothazor would be if he was tanky enough to require players to do 2 loops of the room? You know, Mushroom 5 never happens, right? The second loop is not a thing. Do you know how hard Slothazor would be? How completely inadequate and challenging and fun and beautiful that fight would be if Slothazor was tanky enough to survive till then? Trust me, he would be epic. Matthias doesn't matter because he just dies. like, so many fights, and strike missions included. Bone Skinner, how many of you guys, show of hands, genuinely, I would really like to hear this. How many of you guys, type a 1 in chat for me, please, if you have beaten Bone Skinner before, but never actually done the mechanic. If you have beaten Bone Skinner, but you don't know what the lights do in the room, type me a 1. I'd just like to see by show of hands if that describes you. If you have beat Bone Skinner, maybe you've beat Bone Skinner many times, but you don't actually know what the torches do. I would say, I would guess 80%, 85% of the community has not got a fucking clue what actual Bone Skinner is. No, people don't know. They haven't got a clue. Why? Because you can just DPS the Bone Skinner. You can just kill him. People don't even know the fight! And by the way, if you watch my content, you can find me, I think on a stream when it came out, doing it for real. I mean, and look, all that needs to happen to fix any of this is not the damage output of the bosses, though in some cases, yes. Like personal bombs on Sabbather, right, that you need to run out maybe. But in nearly all of these cases, it's literally just whack more health on the boss. Literally, it is that simple. And it's not lazy, and it's not shallow. It's actually an informed opinion to come to say that. And that's good, guys. That's good, because that means that's all that Arenanet needs to do. So why isn't it included on this blog post? Oh, don't tell me that the Ice Golem is a 1-star fight and it's valid as a 1-star fight. Don't tell me that, Arenanet. Come on. Ordinarily, I'd let it pass and say, well, they're doing a lot here, so let's just take what we've got. But on the other hand, this patch is a systems patch. It's nothing else. Can't we go a bit harder? I mean, Jesus Christ, if we're going to compare this to a feature pack from the days of old, feature packs were big. This seems pretty hands-off. So, I don't know.
May I bother you for just a moment?
Isn't the mechanic just step left when he raises his hand? Dude, the original runs I did of that, doing the lights and doing it properly, we had all these strats about where to put all the flak and all the hands because it was filling up the whole floor. Bone Skinner's cool. Bone Skinner is easily a 4-star fight if he's tuned differently. And I would love that. And I say that, guys, right? I'm really scared that there's someone out there that doesn't really understand why I'm saying all this. I'm not saying this to be elitist and say, no, only some people should get those rewards. I'm not saying this because I think, oh, being good at a video game is cool and I don't want the plebes around. No, none of that. None of that at all. I don't care about any of that. That's all pathetic. I really don't care about that. I say that because it's fun. It's so fun. Gorseval, when he was properly tuned, is brilliant. Gorseval is beautiful. It's such a cool fight. It's cool to learn and then actually have a bit of satisfaction when you beat it. I'm not saying it to take rewards away from people and subject you to long, grueling, punitive experiences. You know, they don't have to be that hard, but hard enough that the magic that smart, intelligent designers sat down once upon a time and they made these fights and they made them for you and they created them in a really cool way and you don't get to play them. You don't get that magic. It's like Tequatl. Do you know how fucking cool Tequatl was when the Tequatl rework came out with the LFG update exactly 1 year after Guild Wars 2? Do you know how cool Tequatl actually is? It's so sad that we don't get to play Tequatl now. It's the same thing. It's for the fun. It's really good. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, if the idea of any kind of challenging or fun puzzle-like experience makes no sense to you, then it's just not the format for you. You're just not in the demo. It's like sitting down and watching a horror movie and saying, oh my god, I can't understand why anyone would want to feel scared, right? It's like watching Uncut Gems and saying, oh, I don't know why anyone would want to feel tense, right? That's what it's aiming for. And if you get it, it's great. And I don't know why it's okay to just slap a 1-star on it and say, well, there you go, that's it forever. Tequatl remake was after 1 year. Damn, you're getting old. Yeah, I think it was. It was either 1 year or 2, but I'm pretty sure it was the 1 year anniversary. I think it was the 1 year anniversary, and it's hilarious in hindsight, but I remember so much commentary from people saying, took them long enough to get an LFG. And they've never done a single meaningful update to it since. They've just bloated it. How sad is that? And this stuff's like the lifeblood of community building and getting people into the content. This is what you should be focusing on in MMO. You know, I wonder if they forget that it's not just a front for a gem store. It was so hype and hard, like an actual world boss. Look, there were downsides to Triple Trouble, and there were downsides to Quattle. You know, there were no map queuing. There was a lot of toxic, weird behavior. It was basically insane to be that hard, over 150 strangers and all that. But, you know, the actual mechanics themselves were really fun and invigorating. I remember I was on Emery Bay back then, and I had to swap to another server. I can't remember what the server was, but I had to swap to another server just to even be able to try to Quattle, because no one in Emery Bay was doing it. None of us were good enough. Like, it was right to move away from that into 10-man stuff that is more matchmakeable and more groupable. But it would have been even better to stick with 5.
Allow me to act.
You should go back to the LFG websites. Yeah, what was it called? Bear Cave? There was some... I think it was Blackgate, wasn't it? It was like a world versus world guild or something. Bear Cave? Was that a thing? Was that a TeamSpeak server? Good stuff. Zanarko says the friction has to exist. It doesn't have to be Dark Souls, but there has to be a learning curve, and there has to be a cost to choosing a build or an approach. True, you're talking about in-encounter friction. Now, that's really good. We all want that friction. That's what we're looking for. But partying up, grouping friction, I fully stand behind everything they can do to reduce that. Everything they can do to lower that as much as possible. And so obviously the update looks good on those grounds. Right, guys, I'm kind of at the end of what I had to say here. Does anyone have any thoughts? Any questions? Anything that we can reflect on? Anything I missed, maybe? So, I think my favorite thing here is the fact that we can hop from instance to instance. That's going to be sick. In fact, okay, so to go back to my list... what have they actually satisfied? Let's see. Out of my laundry list. So, 1 entry hub. Boom. They did it. Nice. Cleaner LFG categories. Yes, they did it. Unified, simplified rewards. Yes, they did it. They did not remove the Icebrood Saga pylons. Oh, shit. Did I skip talking about that? Ah, well, whatever. You guys know what I mean. Fuck those pylons. They just slow you down. It's so annoying to go in there and sit there and fill the pylon up, and then everyone's ready to go, but one guy hadn't loaded in it yet, so, in fast enough yet, so now he has to hit the pylon, and now it's dead, and we have to wait for it to respawn. Ugh, fuck the pylons. So annoying. There were no LFG updates at all, so pinning stuff wasn't there. There was no balance tuning. No squad labels. They did do difficulty classifications. So they kind of got halfway there. I'm so weirded out by this sentence. What are they going to do? Surely that is the question on everyone's mind, right? All players in Quickplay will have an effect applied that provides moderate bonuses to help groups succeed regardless of party composition. On the one side of it, it's like, okay, free a lack and quickness. On the other side of it, it's like, okay, so it's going to be even easier? So the de facto way... So look at these, right? After this update comes out, is it going to be a thing where no statics do these? Why would I do Aetherblade Hideout with my normal mode? Obviously, CM's is different. But if my static does the normal modes of these, why would I do Aetherblade Hideout with my static? Or Whisper of Jormag, or Bone Skinner, or CO, or Fairbae, or Julai Jade Junkyard, or Old Lion's Core, or Kaineng Overlook? Why would I LFG for any of these? Because in Quickplay, I not only get the group for free, but it's easier because they're giving me buffs. So haven't they effectively killed these on LFG? Their normal modes? So will people no longer do Icebrood Saga 5, for example? Because Whisper of Jormag and Bone Skinner, they'd rather Quickplay from. So it's going to be IBS 3, right? I could see it going that way. I could see the community eventually morphing to that, you know, 3-4 months down the road. Oh, you get less rewards from Quickplay. Is that what they said? I thought they said you got more rewards. Because there's achievements and shit going on. In Quickplay, you can't progress any normal achievements. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, that's good news. I didn't retain that. The Raid Quickplay crew, it doesn't do any matchmaking. God, you know what? I just can't help but feel as well. Why don't you do any matchmaking? Oh. Because of its newness, the new raid encounter won't be a part of it. Where did they say the thing about the achievements? I got really good at skimming data lately, by the way, guys. Oh, have you guys heard of a method of reading whereby they flash just a single word at you on screen at a time? Have you guys ever heard of this? It's fucking amazing. The science behind it, right, is when you read, most of the time it takes to read is actually your eyes moving across the page, left to right. And if instead it's just a fixed point and a word just flashes at you, you could go really fast. Like, conventionally, I think people read at about 350 words per minute, the average person. But you can read like 1,000 words, but you can read like entire books. Like, actually read and actually retain the information if you use these tools. They're fascinating. So interesting. And, you know, it's that thing of like our brains are actually very fast and can process information incredibly quickly. Like when you're in a conversation with someone, as you listen to me speak on this stream, it's like so slow, but it's just a problem of language, spoken language. Your brain can go faster, and there's a way of reading where they flash the word at you that you can actually hit your top speed, and it's really cool. Anyway, I was reading about that and different ways in which people skim, and there's a thing called chunking that people do as well, where basically you look at the entire paragraph really quickly. It's been common knowledge for 20 years. Not for me, it hasn't. You can say it's common, but I certainly hadn't heard of it until I tried one of the tools recently.
The Emperor feared my
Common to
great
you,
power.
maybe.
Do you? Do your words, I could use a laugh.
Quickplay raids provide reduced currency. I see, yeah, you get reduced currency. It doesn't say no achievements, though. But there's a separate rung of achievements. That thing about the mentor achievements is good as well. I don't know. I'm actually quite looking forward to this. Okay, let me just see. Let me imagine. Okay, it's 2 weeks. Quickplay is available. How much do I like those fights? Okay, if it ever rolls... Actually, I like them all. To be honest, guys, I like them all. You know, there's always a point where you learn a new build and you've been at the golem and you're a bit bored of the golem and you want some in real world practice. It's actually going to be fucking awesome to just quick play one of these. Febe is nice, tanky enemy that you can really get a sense of, like, you know, your rotation, and you can actually, like, get into the flow of it. Because normal mode Febe is so easy. Normal mode Febe is almost a golem, really. Same with Cosmic Observatory. Actually, to be honest, these are all really good choices for learning new builds. Like, if I wanted to pick up a random build on a random class, you know, go to Snowcrows or whatever, figure out what an optimal rotation is, and then you want to get away from the golem because the golem's boring as fuck and you want an actual real-world experience, just quick play one of these. They are all going to give you a valid experience, all of them. And I could even see myself just doing these out of boredom and for fun. Genuinely. You wish there was an actual raid boss on there? Yeah, I guess the question with the raid boss is, like, how do they split them out of wings right now? Maybe they haven't quite figured out how they want to quick play that. And they want it uniform. Maybe they'll have an encounter quick play and a wing quick play? Because they're very different time sinks, aren't they? You know, if I've got 5 minutes with my cup of tea before I go to work in the morning, I want to do a strike mission, or an encounter, sorry. But if I've come home from work and I'm chill and I've got WoodenPotatoes on the other screen, maybe now I'll do a whole wing. You're old like me, WP, and this was on Reddit a lot pre-2010. Did Reddit exist pre-2010? I certainly wasn't on Reddit pre-2010. 2010's going back.
Blah, blah, blah,
Bet those are the least run strikes. Old Lion's Core is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, the least run boss strike. Cold War and Forging Steel basically never get LFG'd. I mean, they do sometimes, but they're tedious. No one wants to do them. Isn't it weird that, like, where does Forging Steel fit? Forging Steel is like a raid wing now, but without the bosses. Do you know what I mean? Imagine a raid wing that's entirely like Spirit Vale, like Spirit Run sections of the Spirit Vale. You know the Spirit Vale has a lot of like between fight shit, right? That's kind of what Forging Steel is. It's an entire encounter without the bosses. We could call it... No, I said starting work as a hypothetical. I was speaking hypothetically. It's a DRM. Yeah, technically, right? Like, well, no, I don't know.
No, really.
It's its own thing. It's not a DRM or a strike. I think technically it is a strike. And it's giving strike rewards. It's not common knowledge until WP knows it. We've established this. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying one person's anecdote is as good as another. If I get one anecdote, I'm welcome to throw my own bag. You know, give me a study. And until we have a study, we're just blowing for hot air, aren't we? So it doesn't really matter. Of course, retention and recognition are two vastly different things. Though reading stuff like that does help with retention, since the act of reading eats part of your focus. Yeah. I mean, I did it on a few passages, and I found I was able to fully understand and read. Like, you could dial it to 700. I just think that's so exciting, you know, the idea that you could take a whole week to study a book or instead get it done, and not cramming it and not being lazy about it, but you could get it done in a long weekend instead. That's epic. That's just raw efficiency. That's so cool. The structure reminds you more of fractals. Yeah, kind of like a really long 10-man fractal. Maybe. An interesting idea to elaborate on is the role options with boons removed. We need healers. Without boons, it opens up the options for ranged DPS. Yes, I find that endlessly fascinating and fun to talk about as well. I love thinking about what roles could exist. You know, with my little fan fiction MMO, I have 5 roles. I have a tank, I have a healer, I have a melee DPS, and or melee boss DPS, effectively, and I have a ranged, like, AoE DPS role, and a scout. That's my 5 roles. Guild Wars, I don't know. Guild Wars... See, this is the thing. It takes the encounter and the balance team to be in a room together and to talk to one another and to make changes. Arenanet need to not be scared to make some changes. But, you know, I believe in a healer backline and I believe in tanks. I know that they had some blog posts when Guild Wars 2 came out about the Trinity and moving away from it. But I think it's fair for them to say a decade later, look, maybe we were wrong about this. And I think, and I know that sounds so weird, right? But it's cool to be the guy that has boss aggro. And we effectively have that anyway. We just have it wearing a million different hats. Oh, you're the boss this time because you have high toughness. Sorry, you're the tank this time because you have high toughness. You're the tank this time because you're in front of its cone of vision. You're the tank this time because you have a fixate marker randomly on you. You're a tank this time because you picked up a rune which gave you fixate. Like, we don't need all these different variations, all right? Right, I like tanks and I like off tanks. I mean, fuck it. Give everyone the Desmina treatment, right? I think that's fun. I think being a healer, a backline that's both healing and providing boon support, like valuable boons, is also cool, right? And I believe in DPS players that have utility. I like playing DPS builds that can pack extra vuln because I slotted it on. Or DPS builds that pack extra super speed, or DPS builds that can provide a bit of Aegis on demand, or DPS builds that can provide a bit of stability on demand. All that shit is fun. Everyone should have that flex. Just because you're a DPS build, it shouldn't mean lazy, never contribute to any mechanic. It should mean, okay, I help in various... Like, that stuff's fun as fuck. I believe in that for Guild Wars 2. I don't think we need some weird, shitty, artificial layer about quickness and alacrity that makes learning builds more obnoxious and fucks with visual noise and fucks with pacing and asks too much of people and has us focusing too much on ICDs and cancel casts and all that bullshit. Fuck all of that. None of that's good, Arenanet. None of it's good. And pushing us into a world where everyone's faster and faster is just going closer to that and putting more emphasis on that stuff, obnoxious stuff. So yeah, kill him. 14 is not a... 14, you could call 14 a homogenous game. It is, but I don't think it's a mess. There are pros and cons to each style, right? But I think Guild Wars is experiencing mostly cons at this point. You wish revenge damage was more of a thing? Well, yeah, I mean, they killed retail, right? So... Oh yeah, and the Sky Scale skin is interesting. To be honest, I would have preferred another legendary. If they gave us legendary boots, I thought that was really inspired with the Fractal Quickplay when they said, oh, okay, here's legendary gloves. Just the one piece. I thought that was really good, and they could piecemeal do that with other reworks. Legendary boots might have been fun. Especially given that it was easy to get from the Fractal Quickplay, and legendaries are great for Buildcraft. I have a friend, right? I have a friend who ostensibly plays Guild Wars, right? But he doesn't really. He doesn't really like the story. He got a little bit more into it with VOE, but he still doesn't be in it. Here's what his Guild Wars gameplay is, quote unquote. It's logging in and being excited by the idea of a build, and then he spends all of his time spending money setting that build up. Money that does not go onto legendaries. All these other fat cats, people like me, right? We have it all finished off. So we just sit on our fucking, you know, assets, and we have an easy time. And this fucking guy, he gets in, he spends all this time and all this money grinding to set up a new build. He applies it for maybe a day or two, and then he quits again. And then way later, it'll be, oh, here's another build, here's another idea. And that he's just endlessly stuck. It's like the renter's prison. You know, in like real life, all these poor fuckers, we're stuck renting, and these other cunts have got, you know, a nest egg from their mummy or daddy or their good job because they lucked into this, that, or the other thing. And now they got a house, and now they're fine. They can just build up. That's exactly what's happening with Guild Wars, with people that have legendary gear versus people who don't. And that is sickening. That is not what this game should have been about. The experience my friend goes through should not be a thing. And it's not that he sits about crying about it, by the way. He's fine with it, but it's not right. You usually quit twice before your character's done. Oh, and by the way, once you finish the character, because Arenanet don't really design things top down, they just see where the chips fall, your character can completely break in an upcoming balance patch. Like, completely break. So,
rise and return to the fight.
The reason you got into the legendary state you're in is because of that? Yeah, and that's kind of a way to cheese extra playtime out of you on the behalf of the developers. That's all it is, and I'm against it. Alright, I have now ranted about the same thing over and over about 3 or 4 times. My spidey sense is tingling that it might be time to be done, guys. Thank you for watching. I am going to cut out that section of the video and make it its own dedicated production, so hopefully people enjoy that. Can I just say, to the people who have tuned in live, I love you all. Thank you so much. My content output has been dog shit. It has been terrible. I really apologize for that. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for being here for the live stream. I hope this was fun. I'm so happy to have people in chat. I'm so happy to have people that are supporting me, you know, going to Patreon, dropping these memberships and things, and just keeping me company. You know, basically, I haven't done a video for ages, and you had 6 minutes today to see when I was going live, and a bunch of you made it. That's wonderful of you all. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the people who watched the mini video, but those of you who are in it for the long ones as well, you're all awesome. Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching. I will be back soon. I'm desperately trying to get the spark back for Oblivion. I've got a few ideas about how I want to handle that. That is the LP I want to focus on. But as far as Guild Wars news and stuff comes out, of course I will be here. And yeah, I'll see you guys in chat, I guess, for the live stream tomorrow. Thank you, guys. I hope you all had a good New Year's. And here's the rest of January. Take it easy, guys. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye, guys.